Okay, so after some fiddling around, I decided it's time to give my verdict on these guys. Shin Godzilla, or Godzilla 2016 Form 2 and Form 3, Tamashii Web exclusive, so you know what that means. If you haven't managed to pick this up, well, I'm here to tell you if it's really worth it. So, let's go over Form 2 first. Let's set this one aside and let's take a look at what we have here. Oh, it's a miracle I managed to get it to focus. Okay, so let's get a look at the side detail here. Got a lot of nice ripples in the flesh. And on the gills here, you have some nice use of that red paint, along with the collarbone here, mustard color flesh tone. I like how on the legs he has like these little spots here, these little bubbly parts of the skin, look like keloid scars. Moving down, you get some more nice detail and paint. One gripe here obviously is you can see some of the paint here in the segment just doesn't match with this. It's like odd how they decided to go with that. It's like this piece matches with this piece, however this segment does not really match. It just looks weird. It's just one of the complaints I have with it. Paint isn't that consistent, and that's unfortunate. And same goes for this side. Lots of nice detail, all the way down to the little tiny feet. Down the tail, all the way to the tip. And on the back, you have some nice use of that glossy blood red paint down the back, along the spines. Not dissimilar of the final form of Shin Godzilla. On the underside, it's looking pretty good. I must say that it seems like some parts a little more glossy than some of the others. I like the look that this guy has. Definitely looks like he's out of the water already, and he's still kind of wet, but he's not too glossy, so it doesn't really look too wet. So I like it, looks pretty good. The spines look pretty decent. So the teeth are not that bad when it comes to the paint work. The teeth look jagged, screwed up. More or less what you would expect. And the use of red here on the jaw and the gums looks pretty good. The eyes look very, very interesting. They definitely have that fish look to them. And they are pretty gross looking. As you look on the inside of the mouth, you get some pretty decent detail there. And as we wrap up the detail, we're going to get into the articulation of this guy. Now, his mouth opens and closes about that much to around that much. His head does move. This segment here swivels a little bit. However, I try to move it a bit and this is what happens. You're going to notice that when you do that, you're going to disconnect the head and then this piece is going to come off, exposing the interior skeleton of the figure. So my suggestion is definitely be careful when you're messing with this piece and trying to move it. It's not going to move that much, don't force it, otherwise you're going to lose his head. And luckily it's just a bunch of ball joints that you just connect back together. However, it is going to be loose, so definitely be careful with that. Can't really move it from side to side as much as you could in the movie, so that's kind of unfortunate. But anyways, moving on, the middle torso does move quite a bit actually. Not too much, but not too bad either. The legs can rotate, and then down the legs to his feet do rotate a bit. You can actually rotate them all around. However, do be careful with this, as these pieces are connected by really tiny ball joints and they're easily snappable. And you just want to be careful with that. His chicken wing arms here kind of move in and out, but that's all you pretty much get out of them. Those do look tasty. And last but not least, we have the tail, which in typical SH MonsterArts fashion is segmented. So it'll bend, however it won't bend too much. Form 3 on the other hand, lots of detail on this guy. And well, I'll just be quiet while you guys take a look at the detail for yourselves. You have the tip of the tail, which already shows that head forming there. My biggest complaint with this guy is, as everybody else's complaint is that this guy is not the color I was expecting. Now, most of you probably remember the scene in the movie when he's transforming that he was a bit more red. Here, he looks like a mixture of his second form with some green in there, along with the reds. I don't know what they were thinking when they decided to paint this guy. However, it's definitely not movie accurate in my opinion. So a very odd choice of colors they decided to go with here. But I don't hate it. So I guess that's a good thing. I do not hate it. Get some more of that nice detail on the spines. I definitely feel that the spine should have been red, not this mustard yellow. They're very similar to the second form. And you got some dark forest green in here mixed with that yellow, a little bit with that red. It's a very interesting choice of colors. Not my favorite. I did manage to get lucky. My version does not have any paint chips or paint smudges on the face. Everything from the eyes look really cool. The wrinkles and scars on the skin all look pretty damn good. The teeth look nice. However, on the front row, I did notice some bleeding there on the teeth. But considering this guy is supposed to spit up blood, I don't really see that as a negative. The gills look pretty decent. And there's lots of nice red paint in the crevices of this guy. So I'll give him that. Definitely a lot more red in the detail than the final form of Shin Godzilla. But yeah, not many people are going to be happy with this guy. That's the way of it then. Another thing I have to point out is that when you open his mouth, it opens really wide, but it also leaves this weird protruding. I mean, do you see it? It just looks weird. I don't know, maybe I wasn't supposed to open the mouth that wide. Like that maybe looks better. However, I don't know. When he roars in the movie, he does open his mouth kind of wide. So, but let's definitely move into the articulation. So the head can sort of move. I can't really get him to move this joint here, and I'm not trying to force it considering how the mouth is engineered. So the jaw opens that wide, close it up. This segment here can move straight up, and then you could bend it forward. You get that gap there though, and you also get some movement on this neck joint. The abdominal area rotates and can bend forward. The lower abdominal area also bends forward. bend it back straight. The arms, really delicate. Be careful with these guys. Soft plastic, however these do rotate a bit, so that's a win there. Nice. Okay, the legs, you can spread them out quite a bit. They do rotate, however try not to rotate it too much as the paint will start rubbing up against each other, and yeah, you don't want that to happen. Lower legs, you get some forward movement and bend on the knee all the way down to the ankle. You get some swivel, rotation, and holds its pose pretty well. All joints are pretty standard, nothing's too stiff or too loose on this guy. And the tail segments, of course, have a nice range of articulation, more so than the second form. As you can see here, I can fold the tail this much. However, much like Form 2, you can't really move it upwards too much because of the way that the tail is shaped. Because the way the tail is shaped, you're not going to be able to move it up or down too much. More side to side, you'll get a better range of motion. I do want to mention on mine, down here on the tail segment, there is some paint being rubbed off here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right there, yeah. So, little minor paint scuff there because of the rubbing against the figure. Not really too noticeable considering you could hide that. It is prone to rubbing off against each other, so just like every other MonsterArts pretty much. So be careful with that. However, I would have to say the range of articulation on this guy is pretty damn good, and I like it. Except that mouth. That mouth is just, oh god, oh no. Do want to mention that the spines on this guy do seem like they're rubbery plastic. At least some of them are. Some are a little harder to move than others. This one's pretty good. However, they are pretty sharp, so definitely be careful with them. You're going to start bleeding like I did that one time, remember? Now, big question, do these guys come with anything?
You serious?
Size comparisons? So overall, they're nice companion pieces to go with the SH MonsterArts Shin. However, if you are looking to pick these guys up, don't pay more than $80 for these guys. If you can get them for that price, you are lucky. However, because these were web exclusives and Japan exclusives, hard to come by now these days. So definitely go easy on the pricing with these guys. If you can find them for a decent price, I say get them. However, I will not recommend these guys if you are tight on money and there are other figures in the series you really would like to get. I mean, if you're a big fan of Shin Godzilla like I am and love that design, and if you're a completionist, you're just gonna have to pick these up anyways. However, in my honest opinion, you can do without them. You know, the paint on the Form 3 is a little off. I'm not a big fan of that. And, you know, the articulation is a bit limited on a Form 2. However, they're not bad. They're not terrible. But, once again, it's kind of a hard sell. Especially considering that these would probably go up for $120 or more on eBay or any other aftermarket price you can find them for. So, I wouldn't pay that price for these guys, honestly speaking. So anyways, thanks for watching this review, everyone. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and maybe subscribe.